sure it goes through. Give a second. All right, and there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another interview with the artist. And I am so excited because today I am joined by Lynn Stahl of Metalhead Minis. Lynn, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on, and hello to everybody who is watching.
I am absolutely thrilled to have you on. Lynn is a longtime friend and personal hero of mine. She is an incredible, incredible supporter of artists, of the hobby community, of the scene. If you are involved in this world and you don't know Lynn, you should. You should be going to Metalhead Minis. You should be following her on all the socials, which will all be linked below. So please do look that all up.
Yay!
Uh,
More photos.
Lynn is, of course, has of course recently taken on a rather big responsibility as well in the past couple years
Hmm.
with the Gen Con and the miniature hobby events there. I think people may have heard of Gen Con. It's kind of a it's a middling sized convention, right?
Yeah. There's only like 10 or 12 people that go. No, actually, more like altogether a quarter of a million. So it's a lot, big thing. A lot of people don't know. Like when they put 70,000, that's like the 4 day passes
Right.
and yeah, it's not counting everyone else. It's a huge thing. The whole city of Indianapolis does everything and turns everything upside down just to cater to that 1 week event because it brings in tens of millions of dollars into the city of Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I want to talk, Lynn, about you running the MHE in a little while because
Sure.
I love what you're doing, what you continue to do, how you're growing it. I want to talk about how you plan to grow it in the future. But first,
Yeah, of
before we
course.
get to that, before we get to the present day and even the future, we've got to start in the past. So, Lynn, you're a great artist, but where did you begin?
Thank
That's
you.
where we always start. What got you in to painting miniatures?
What got me into painting miniatures? So it was a stormy day in 1997. And I know I'm starting it off like it was a stormy day um, in 1997. And a friend of mine named Mark, we kind of grew up together. We also did date for a long time. But anyway, so when I met him, it was pretty funny how him and I ended up even together at the time that we were together because I mean, you have me who wears a lot, is all goth, wears a lot of black. Thank you so much. And listens to and plays metal music, right? And then you have Mark who, he dressed regular and stuff like that, but he liked rap music. He liked some rock and, stuff like that. But it was just funny how we ended up even coming together. But yeah, we still had quite a bit in common, but we always had a lot of fun together. Well, one day during the storm, he sits there and he notices throughout the time of us dating that I'm into fantasy stuff
Sure.
and Lord of the Rings and games and art and stuff. And so he turns around to me one day and he says, "Well, since we can't leave the house," he's like, "I have something that you might be interested in." So he goes up to his to the attic and he comes down with these big boxes, okay? And I'm sitting there and I'm kind of wondering what's about to happen
Sure.
here.
I just
What
want
is
to
this
say
big box?
already, this is like the best introduction to painting story we've ever had in this series so far.
Thank you.
I am engrossed in this narrative because he might have come back down with a knife. Who knows? Like
I
anything could
know.
have happened.
I didn't know what to expect. He's like, he just said, "I have something you might be interested in," and he didn't even lead off with, "Since you're into fantasy movies and you
Right.
like dragons and elves, I have something you might be interested in." That never came up. That did not happen. He just sat there and the storm, the weather was bad. I couldn't go outside. We were watching TV, just shooting the shit. And then he sits there and he's like, "I have something you might be interested in." Just goes up to the attic and I'm like, "What's about to happen here?" Okay. And then he comes down with these big boxes, and I'm kind of wondering, okay, what's about to happen here? What do we got? I'm wondering if it's maybe something music related, but I never saw anything that made him musically inclined beyond the talent of being able to play a CD player and a tape player before that. So I was really, well, I was on edge a little bit, like what's about to happen here? Opens up the box, and in this box I was blown away. Okay. You got this person that listens to rap music, watches mafia movies, and talks all tough and everything, tough Italian guy, but he's an awesome person. He truly is. He always has been. And it was just like, and he's talking to me, and then he opens up this box and there's a ton of model kits, Marvel model kits, okay?
Sure.
And then a ton of D&D books, okay?
Okay. All right.
And then paints and metal Mount Ralpartha minis. And he opens up this box, and I said, and I'm thinking he acquired it, like someone died or gave it away to him and was like, this is taking room in my garage. Take it away, And I said, well, whose is this? And he goes, these are mine. And I went, who are you?
So he brought down the secret nerd box. That's what it was. He had squirreled away all the secret nerd stuff.
And you remember how in the 80s and even in some of the 90s that if you were into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, that people thought, I don't know, that I don't know, sacrificed goats, I guess, or something. Or summoned, used IKEA furniture words to summon demons or something. And, so the job that he was in, he did have this very good job for a time where he ran a nationwide company, a telecommunications company.
Okay.
And he took that job very seriously and he did it very, very well. Eventually the company folded, but over those years when he did it, he was very serious about his job, and he was very serious about how he looked professionally and outside. And basically he was afraid that if people sat there at his job and found out that he was into these things, that he felt that they would look at him in a negative sort of light. And he actually told me that. And I was just like, who the hell cares? Look how cool this stuff is, And I was just so excited. But anyway, he says, so I said, so what's with the paints and the metal things there? What's going on with that? So he goes on to tell me how he ran a D&D campaign when he was in high school, and that he was the DM for it, and that his teacher also partook. It kind of was like Stranger Things, where you had the science teacher join you. And so we talked about that, and he was like, and this is how you have your figures and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I remember the game Dungeons and Dragons. I just didn't know that you had to paint your models. Okay. So he says, well, you want to learn to paint? And I said, well, sure, So he sits with me and he goes through and he teaches me basically about base coating and washes and dry brushing and using inks and then sealing it after. And then I sat there and I was so excited and I painted all day for the rest of the day. Like, I swear to you, I did nothing else. I wanted to do nothing else. It was like when you're a kid and you get a new video game and you even hold it in to pee until you pass that board. Like, I was just like that into it. So I sat there and I said, okay, so is this stuff not around anymore? Are there stores where we could pick this up? So he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, that store where you go, where you and Craig, a best friend that I grew up with, he's like, where you and Craig used to go to get comics? And I said, yeah. He's like, well, there's a store right by there that we can go to. And I said, all right. So we go, and I bought the entire line of GW paints.
Sure.
Which at the time, are you ready to be shocked? In 1997, the whole line of GW paints, if you bought one of each, was something like $125.
Oh yeah, I remember. Absolutely. Yeah, because it wasn't even that many then, right? Like that was
it really wasn't. It wasn't that many, not nearly as many as there are now. And I bought the entire line of GW paints. And I bought about $600 or $700 worth of Reaper and Ralpartha models.
Wow.
And then later, and I bought a ton of brushes. And then I went to Complete Strategist in Manhattan later that week. And oh God, if you've never been to Complete Strategist on 33rd Street, oh my God, that place it's like a legend in gaming. And I went there, and then I bought another hundreds of dollars worth of Grenadier, AD&D Ralpartha, and other Ralpartha minis. Like, dude, I turned around and I busted out a stash. Like, I was not playing. Okay. And I painted like every day to relax. And it was so great for me when it was introduced to me, because I was going through a very stressful time. I mean, I worked in the music industry, and I opened up a guitar shop. like soon after, but I was prepping to at the time. And, now I was born. It was like just, or it was little, there was just all kinds of stuff that was, going on and everything. And so it was crazy. And so painting minis was relaxing for me.
Right. It was. There's always the way I think of it is like no your life at so many points in time, especially with stuff like that. I don't. By the way, I don't know why I didn't actually start in the background. You may want to refresh it. You'll see it. But at any
Oh,
rate,
that's okay.
uh, a lot of times there just ends up being like noise in our life.
Yeah.
That's the way I think about it. There's just so much. It's a cacophony. But when you sit down at the desk and you start painting, it's like the world gets quiet,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Oh, for sure. I mean, I absolutely loved it, and I got very into it. And then I did it for years, just for funsies, and whenever I could, shared it with the kiddos, stuff like that. And then I did take a hiatus for a time. I took a hiatus, I would say, for about, I want to say around 4 years, because my grandpa had cancer, and I just, there was so much going on and everything. And so I had to stop painting for a bit. Just there was just so much happening. And in that time, somewhere along the line was when the big change in painting happened.
Right. Yep.
When we started taking on some traditional art techniques and some European style of painting, which I mean, I swear it's like God took all the best painters and just, put them overseas, and stuff like that. It's like not even fair. It's like these people come from another planet. And but they're amazing. I love them all. And basically, everything changed with painting. So when I went back to it, let me tell you how I got back to it and how
Okay.
Metalhead Minis got started, because I'm sure you wanted to know how it led up to that too.
Right.
So fast forward, with Grandpa being gone and everything else, and I worked for Verizon for a time, and I was a lead technician for Verizon, and I was working there, 80 hours a week,
Right.
and finishing my astrophysics degree. And so I sat there and was doing all that. And then when the economy crash happened in '08, mind you, soon before that, I also closed my guitar shop,
Okay.
because when Grandpa was sick, there was no way I was going to be able to
Right.
focus on everything. And man, I could have done it at a better time, because a few months later, the economy crash happened, right?
Right.
So when the economy crash happened, I also got laid off from Verizon.
How nice.
Yeah. So I sat there and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, I'm used to constantly working and doing, like, me, I can't sit still for crap. I really
I
can't.
know this for sure.
Yeah. Anyone who knows me knows that I have to keep busy. Otherwise, it makes me crazy. And so I sat there and I had no idea what I was going to do. And before that, not too long before that, I did start painting again, but a little here and there when I could. And so I sat there and I was like, I'm just going to paint. Because I swear to you, painting has saved my life more than once. Like, I'm not even making that up, okay? Besides playing World of Warcraft, painting minis has saved my life many times. So I'm not even kidding. So I sat there and I was like, I'm going to paint. And I'm going to get myself through this, and I'm going to keep doing my schooling and whatever. And so I paint. And then I was painting at the GW store in Grapevine. And then through AJ, who now runs the Fort Worth store and has been for a few years now, he turned around to me one day and I was painting a Reaper Mini. And so I didn't know that in the GW store you couldn't, like, I was just sitting and free painting during the day. It wasn't like a thing. But they were like, hey, just so that you want to bring like GW minis in when you paint. You're not supposed to bring other ones. And I said, oh, I apologize. I didn't know that. So then AJ told me, well, that's a Reaper Mini. And he goes, and I don't know if you know this, but Reaper, the factory, is only 20 minutes away from here.
Right. Right.
And I was like, bro, what? Like, and I just moved to Texas at the time.
Okay.
So I still didn't know much
So you had
about
no
what
idea.
was
This was
around.
just pure happenstance.
Yeah, I had no idea where anything was. I was lucky I knew how to get to Grapevine Mall and get home. Like, that's it, okay? So, like, I swear, thank God for GPSs, I would end up in Guam. Like, I'm going to the store, I'll be right back, end up in Guam. I swear to Christ, like, forget it. So I sat there and I was like, are you kidding me? And then he's like, yeah, you can get a tour and you could see the manufacturer, the production and everything, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, no joke. And I called right away and I set up a tour.
Right.
So I go to Reaper and I take the tour. I meet and make friends with people. Then they sit there and say, hey, next month is going to be ReaperCon. You should come. It was when ReaperCon used to be in May and used to
Aha.
be located in the Reaper factory,
Right.
right?
Right.
So they were like, you know, Shannon says to me, yeah, ReaperCon's next month. You should come. And we also have Paint Club every Saturday. And I said, yeah, great. I'll come. So I did. And while I was there, I was always there painting stuff and then help play test games like Warlord. And then I got hired on in July that year and was working at Reaper for, part time, helping them in the production for a
Right.
while and stuff. And yeah, and all that time, I was always there painting. And so next thing you know, the people that I was play testing with, a couple of my friends. First, it was Ernie. He says, "Hey, how much would you charge me to paint this?" And he puts a dwarf on a boar. And I didn't really know what to charge. I didn't know crap about, whatever. So I was trying to think how long it would take me, this and that. And I said something like, oh, this amount of money. He says, okay. All right. So I paint it. And then Greg Greer comes to me and he sits there and he says, how much would you charge me to paint these? And puts some minis down. X amount of dollars. Okay. I'm like, I could turn this into something. Little
Right.
side gig, right? I like designer makeup and I like designer sunglasses and other designer stuff. So I sat there and I thought, if anything, I love getting my hair done. I love getting my nails done. And I sat there and I thought, I can make a little money on the side,
Right.
painting some minis for people. And instead of using money from the budget or savings, I could just sit there and use the money to get my nails done or whatever, right? Start off doing that. So now I'm painting for people.
Right.
It grows, it grows, it grows. Next thing you know, one day, one of the things that I did was I painted up extra minis when I didn't have a commission in queue.
Okay.
And I posted it up on eBay to sell. And that was at the time when selling eBay pro painted figures was actually a good thing to do.
Right. But before the world where like everything anywhere that anyone sells that has paint that got in the same zip code as it says pro painted and all that. Right. When it was actually like, yeah.
Yeah, when it was actually a thing, right? So basically, I so I sold a mini. It was a Ralph Partha model of like, I forgot what the name of the model was, but it was like the Athena goddess one or something.
Okay.
The one where she has like one boob out or whatever,
Yep.
and a robe. And this dude buys it off me, and he said he loved it. And then he said to me, "Hey, I was wondering something. Do you sell unpainted models?" And then I was like, no, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, I guess if there's a model that I don't want, I guess I could sell it. And mind you, I have experience with eBay selling before because in my guitar shop, we didn't just sell things in the brick and mortar location. We also sold stuff on eBay.
Sure.
Like
You were used to the online marketplace, right?
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, I guess if there's a mini I don't want, I could put it up and sell it. But I was like, no, not really. Why do you ask? So he's like, I was wondering if you can help me with something. And I'm thinking to myself, this could go to a very weird place. This is the internet and with a person I don't friggin' know.
Right.
Him and I become friends, really hell of a nice guy, Wilhelm. And he turned around and he said, here's what I need help with. I need help selling a bunch of Ralph Partha and Grenadier minis. I have a ton of them in my basement. And my wife told me that if I don't clear these out, that I'm going to be out in the street.
Sure.
Really? He says, yeah. Okay, so where do I come in? What's happening here? And he goes, I need help selling them. And he made a deal with me. I get this cut, you get this cut, and we'll do it like this, and blah blah blah. What do you think? And then I added in my ideas of how it can work and how it would be fair. And then we wrote up a whole contract and went from there. Next thing you know, I have a consignment store.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
where people sit there and they come to me, hey, I can't use this anymore. Sell it for me. And now, because when he always sold his stuff, he told one of his friends, that person told something else. Then people asked me on eBay, where are you getting all this crap? Are you like on Hoarders or something? No, ma'am, not I, French fry. I sell these things. People bring it to me. This is what we do. And then we have a consignment store.
Nice.
yeah, and then just basically everything that's part of the business model with Metalhead Minis, I kid you not, all got dropped on my lap.
Just kind
Everything.
of, yeah, just fell into it.
It fell into it, and then the business would just grow, 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 and then it became a full time gig while I was finishing my degree. So then it came to the point I was like, well, I graduated with this degree, this other degree, which is awesome because I have more than one. But I sat there and was like, so I finished this degree, which is awesome. Well, at least I have backup plans.
Right.
I will be very useful in the job market. But with the Metalhead Minis, I was like, it became a full time gig, and I was like, well, it ain't broke, don't fix it,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
Yep.
and that's how the company started, July of 2009.
Nice.
It's been
That's
10
awesome.
years now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you just passed your 10 years. Still going strong, bigger than ever.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So where what I want to know is where did you decide to get involved with MHE with Gen
Oh,
Con?
one of the things that happened the same year that Metalhead Minis was started was I was hanging out with another painter, and she was sitting there telling me about, we were talking about conventions because I said,
For
yeah,
sure.
I had such a great time at ReaperCon. I want to go to more of them. And I did some research and found out about other events that were going on, made plans to go to those. And then she sat there and she was like, well, when you did your research, did you see about Gen Con? And I was like, no, I don't think so, whatever. And then she was like, "Oh yeah," she goes, "You should talk to Tanya and sit there and say with one of my friends." She was like, "You should talk to Tanya and see if they need any volunteers because then you could volunteer and do the paint and take and stuff like that." I was like, "Wow, really?" I was like, "You think I'd be good enough for that?" She's like, "Yeah." So I was like, all right, bet. So I said, well, what's an email, contact email? And then I contacted them. I contacted Tanya specifically, and it was when Sue was running it.
Right.
And yeah, and Tanya sat there and was like, yeah, yeah, we'd love to have you, come on down. You take care of your own travel and stuff. And I said, oh, that's no problem. I could totally do that. And yeah, I was like, I'll do whatever for however long you need me. You need something, I'm there. So I got into doing that, and I had such a great time that I was like, okay, unless I die, I'm never missing this convention,
Right.
like
I
ever
much the
again.
same place I'm in, exactly. Like it has to be catastrophic injury, life-threatening something. Yes, I better have been hit by a bus and then struck by lightning.
Dude,
Absolutely.
I did, even with my surgery that's coming up. They turned around and they wanted to do it right away. I was like, no, can we wait until after all this? Like, I moved. I've been carrying a mass the size of a volleyball between three tumors because I was not missing Gen Con. Don't worry, I'm not experiencing any pain. Discomfort, but no pain. So I'm okay. But also, I've had these for 20 years. I'm afraid I'd miss them. I should have named them. I just found out about them. I'm like, we just found out about each other. I could have named them. Probably still name them now. But yeah, I moved it over. I was like, no, got to do it in November. I have to do Gen Con and I have to do ReaperCon and Warfare Weekend. And I'm doing Fallen now too, which I'm super excited about. I've always wanted to go to Fallen. And yeah, so I was just like, I have to do these conventions first. Hold it to November. I was like, I've had them all this time. What's a few more months? And the doctor was like, all right, fair enough. As long as you're not in pain, okay,
Nice.
We call that dedication.
Absolutely. That folks, that is dedication right there. That's the level of dedication you need to have in the miniature painting world. So the last couple years you've actually been not only just you're running all the hobby events
Yeah.
that are happening where we're teaching, you also have been running the actual like MHE painting competition there, stuff like that. And I have to
Yeah, this
say,
year was the first full year of that. Yeah. Yeah.
yes. And I have to say, you've done such a great job. Not that, and that's not in any way besmirching anybody else who ran in the past. Not at all. I've always enjoyed it.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. It's definitely come a long way, and it will come an even longer way, believe me, because we always knew what it was supposed to be, but the thing was that even the people who ran it prior did an excellent job, but the amount of work that it would take to put it to where it needs to be was always a lot for them to take on,
Right.
and then life always got in the way for them, you know what I mean? So I can understand why certain things just didn't happen yet or fell by the wayside or, whatever. But even so, like it's still come a long way. Like everybody, as they let it, made a little change, made a little change, made a little change. Then they sat there, and when Shannon couldn't do it anymore, because Shannon and I did it together, and then with Shannon, she turns around and she can't do it anymore. There's health stuff going on. And she said to me, it has to be you. And the Gen Con people are the same way. They're like, it's got you're gonna have to do this because nobody else will be able to put or have the know-how or the work or whatever to put in to get it to where it needs to be. This is where it's supposed to be. This is what we expect. This is what we need. Blah blah blah. And I was just like, all right, we'll get it done. The first year fully doing it this year was great because it allowed me to fully see and have full access to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it allowed me to see where there were disconnects and more fully where things could be made better. So that has allowed me, so I already knew offhand what things needed to be done, did some of that. And then having full access allowed me even more so to see things even deeper. So now you're going to see even more and even better changes coming. So it's going to be really good. I'm really excited about it. So
that's awesome. It's such a smooth running contest. It's such a nice contest in the way you've structured, not just the way that that people are getting feedback on their miniatures. So for people who don't know, like one of the great things about the contest at Gen Con is when you're done. I don't know where. Oh, mine are right here. There you go. Look, I literally still have these right beside me. You get your slips with your feedback for every piece you entered, the judges' scores, notes from the judges as to what they thought, why you got the scores you got. It's incredible for feedback. You had an absolutely stellar set of judges there this year who were.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was very glad for them. Yeah,
It was
definitely.
amazing. This is
Very
Anthony
good.
Rodriguez and Matt DiPietro and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, yeah.
You ran
Thank
the
you.
Aces of Painting, which is super fun. It was just great all the way top to bottom. And for all the participants, it was so smooth. You had everything running clockwork.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my meticulousness, my OCD, and my nope, get it done. I don't want to hear it. But there were still some certain. I mean, I'm not going to say it was run perfectly, because again, I did see where there were certain disconnects, and there were certain things that I found going through everything and evaluating that needed to be changed. And so I will be sure to get that done and stuff. So I'm not worried about it. It's gonna be a lot better. One of the things was like with the feedback and stuff like that. I'm gonna make sure that's done better. Like I sat there and I did a video beforehand saying in the video, if you want feedback, let me know, or let us know rather, sorry, judges and what have you. At the award ceremony, I let people know. Afterwards, when I did the video, I let people know and I said, hey, if you didn't get a chance to talk to the judges, you can send one of the judges or me or whatever photos of the entry and we can go over it, stuff like that. So, and I posted it in all the groups, but I guess like not everybody looks at all the posts and stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, so I mean, it'll people will get used to the changes and will know, what can be done. Because I mean, like even after the ceremony, a bunch of us were there 2 to 3 hours after the ceremony giving people feedback.
Yep.
And it was fun. I love doing stuff like that. I mean, I don't know about other people, but I can't speak for everybody else. But I know that my judges and myself, we totally enjoyed doing it. I didn't really get to judge anything because I was busy putting in the scores. The only time that I was involved in the judging process was like for tie breaking.
Sure.
Like when we had to pick best in show, the judges were super torn on which ones to pick. So it was between you and someone else. And there was another piece. And then for the best, what was the other one? Best open.
Gotcha.
I had to help tie break for that one too.
Nice. Personal vendetta or personal bias. You made a great choice.
I honestly didn't even know it was yours at first. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, because one thing I did change too was the fact that they had the papers with the name and the title. And while I do love that the title was there and stuff like that in the previous things, I didn't like that the person's name was there
Sure.
because some people like to be anonymous. And then also too, I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any sort of judging bias.
Right.
Like as little chance of that as humanly possible. That's why I had it where there was the stickers with the numbers and the letters instead of people's names.
Makes it easy because then you
Yeah,
don't know you're judging, a piece from a certain person. You just know you're judging 53A.
yeah. Like I mean, and I'm not trying to be, or even like outside of that. Like, and I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but there are some people in this world that are so petty that I've seen things happen where they'd be like, "Oh, so and so painted it. I'm not even going to take a picture of it."
Right.
Like that's not what it's about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's an art piece. If you think it's cool, take a picture of it and share it on your social media. It's good for them. It's good for you. You get a piece of artwork that you enjoy, but you're going to turn around and just put the kibosh on it just because Joe Schmo from Kokomo that you don't like painted it. Like,
Right.
you know? So I just don't like stuff like that. I like to try to prevent that stuff. So that's why I did it the way I did it. So, but one big change that's planning to happen that's in the works is computerizing the whole process.
Nice.
Nice. That will, because there's a lot of paper involved, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I think it's messy. So, but I understand that's how it always was done. I understand why it was a functional process at the time. But the thing is that as many entries as there can be and should be, and what there's, what's going to be changed. Because I mean, there's going to be more categories added starting next year too. So there's going to be a lot more entries. So having all that paper, not good.
Right.
You know, starting next year, there's going to be a bust category. I'm going to break up the painters category because I feel like there's too much stuff mishmashed in there, you know?
Right.
So there
Well,
we
there were
will.
so many busts. Busts have just been exploding, and there were so many in the case. I was thrilled to see how many people had done so many awesome busts this year.
For sure, for sure. I agree. There will be a bust category starting next year. There will also be, I am re implementing single figure. I plan to do monsters separate from separate from like large, like have monsters and then large, but I'm not completely sure about that yet. I might still keep large and whatever. But one cool addition that there's going to be, new category wise, Gundam will now officially be made a category.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it should be. I feel bad that even though we pushed that there was going to be a sponsored Gundam award, there wasn't as many Gundams in there as I would have liked. However, the person who did enter, I'm glad he did because there were people that passed by, looked at the case, and were like, "Oh my God, there's a Gundam in there," and I was like, "Yeah, there's a Gundam award. Oh my God, you can enter Gundams in now? Yes, you can."
Nice.
So now I'm gonna make it officially a thing.
That's awesome. That's
It
wonderful. I can't.
is.
I love seeing those Gundam models, and
Me too.
yeah.
And also, there will be a historical and scale model category.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, which I think is good because you'd be surprised how different it is with historical models
Right.
compared to the sci-fi and fantasy models we've always known. I like how the communities being the historical military models and the fantasy sci-fi models are starting to come together through clubs, paint nights, and stuff because there's so much that we can all learn or that everybody can learn from each other.
Yep.
I'm involved in both communities and I couldn't be more grateful and glad that I am because the stuff that you learn from the military and historical model guys is insane.
Right. Absolutely. The
Oil
scale
paint,
modelers, the no,
yeah,
just like the level of understanding they have of things like weathering and rust and environmental effects and all this type of stuff is so
ambiance.
deep and amazing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's and they understand it at like how each material is going to be affected and what things to use to achieve so many varied effects. It's fantastic.
It really is. I mean, they even account for things like what time of day was it, the ambiance, or if there was atmospheric phenomena that was happening, and if
Right.
so, how does that affect the colors, and and all that stuff. And but that kind of stuff. I mean, if you want to achieve that kind of realism, it counts. It's important. So I just think it's just amazing the things that we could all learn from each other, and they learn stuff from fantasy sci-fi painters too. They're like, wow, you could do that with those colors. That's really interesting, and whatever. And so they learn a different approach on how to do stuff. And so I just think that implementing the historical and scale model category would just be a great way to broaden people's horizons, especially if Gen Con is one of the few events that they get to go to.
Right.
Like, I mean, if you don't get to go to IPMS shows and AMPS shows and whatever, in addition to, you know, Gen Con and ReaperCon and stuff, then you don't really get to see that whole other world that there is out there. And I think that's important. I also think that it will expand the scope of what kind of classes will be taught in the classroom.
Ah, nice.
Nice. Yep. Because think about it. People sit there and they learn how to paint Star Wars models and other stuff, which is great and fine because those are great games. But imagine if you sat there and saw a historical model and there was just something about how they did the water effects and what have you. You could teach a class just on that.
Right.
And people will get to see all the amazing ways that things are done. Like the Gundam classes that we started this year, they did really good.
Right.
They did really good. So we're going to expand on that. As a matter of fact, Nestor is working on, for our Metalhead Minis classes with the Gundam, he is working on writing the next level class, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So because those Gundam classes did really good. And Seth Amsden, who is on Instagram known as at Hobby Sensei, he's great at doing Gundam stuff too. That dude does insane stuff.
Yeah, he's a great artist.
Yeah. And with the historical stuff, like I said, you would just be surprised at what kind of things you can learn. For example, one of the things that they commonly do in that world is painting figures with oils.
Right.
How do you think I got into that?
Yep.
So I'm working on writing a class that and about doing oil paints, and I figured we'll start off by doing them on bust because it's a bigger canvas,
Right.
and it makes it easier to learn it on that. So yeah, stuff like that. So like I said, it just expands the scope and brings on the interest of other things that you can learn for the hobby. I just think it's important for the community, and I think and the other thing is too to consider about the historical and scale modelers. A lot of them are older.
Sure.
And hate to be the bearer of bad news, but in spite of the fact that we collect more minis than we can possibly paint, we don't live forever.
Well, yet I'm still hopeful. Science will conquer all.
Science, yeah, that's true. So, but we won't live forever. But they won't live forever. And so, how else could we help to create the next coming generations of those of scale modelers and painters if we don't expose people to it?
Right.
Like they expand, they show their children, they show their grandchildren. That's well and good, but that's just one part.
Absolutely. I want it. I think the crossover is so essential. There's so much to learn.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's speaking of what you've been working on, let's take a look at some of your pieces.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll bring them up on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
My chat is not friggin' doing its job. I just want to make sure you know that.
Oh, that's okay.
So if people are asking questions or saying stuff, I apologize, but it hasn't been running in a bit.
It's all good. All right, let's start with the first bust up. We've got H.P. Lovecraft there.
Okay, which one? Which H.P. Lovecraft is it? Is it the unnameable, the pink one?
No, this is the in the suit, the gentleman, the actual.
Oh, H.P. Lovecraft himself. Okay,
Yes.
Sorry. Yes. Okay, what he was painted in oils, primarily.
Yeah, so walk through what I this is a cool bust and you said you did it mostly with oils. Like walk us through it. What made you want to do this? What made you want to experiment with the oils? What did you like about it?
Okay, well, first of all, Brandon is telling us that there's a massive echo, just so that you know. But I don't hear it. I don't know. What do you hear anything?
I hear it a
I
little
hear it
bit.
a little bit.
See if maybe your
See if maybe
camera
your
your
camera,
microphone
your
switched. You
microphone
might want to go
switched. You
back
might
to your
want to
other
go back
mic.
to your other mic. The desktop one, but didn't that make it the worse?
Try the I
Try
don't know.
the, I don't know.
We'll try a
We'll
switch.
try
See what
switch.
happens.
See what happens. Okay. Real.
All right, let me
Okay, what
talk now.
about now?
Hey, there we go. All gone. You're good. Assuming you can hear me.
But that's so weird because when we switched it before, it was an echo before, and that's why I switched to the camera. Okay.
Who
Anywho,
knows?
thank you, Brandon, for letting us know. He's always a great he's always great with tech stuff. So but yeah, so HP Lovecraft, what made me decide to do it with oils? Well, first of all, when it comes to doing uh the Blackheart models, because there's such a big canvas in their phone and stuff, and I absolutely love doing the Blackheart models and oils. And I also figured with the HP Lovecraft, because of the way the face is sculpted and such, uh, that I felt the oils would do it more justice and the blends would come out better.
Right.
So that's why I chose that process. The only things that are done in acrylic are the eyes and the eyebrows,
Nice.
if I remember right. Yeah.
He came out really well. Like I like the hair. I like the skin. Oils is a really fun thing on skin because it gives it a very real, like I don't know how else to say it, like organic feel to it, right? Like it does feel more like skin.
And dude, you have no idea. Well, you might have an idea because how talented you are at it, but it's painting. But like, it's painting with oils is so fun.
It is. It's a totally different world, right? Because
It's a game changer, and
yeah,
it makes. I mean, there's another piece that I just finished in oils, and there might be an article, a magazine article coming out about it, where I wrote a tutorial on how to paint the bust with oils, and which was convenient since I was in the process already of writing the class. But this is the deep one
oh, hold on. I'll minimize so we can actually see you. Hold
too.
on. Okay, go ahead. Hold it up. There you go. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he came out awesome.
Thank you. And the cool thing about doing oils is that it's once you get into the groove of how to do it, it's quick too.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's really nice because
Yeah, in all seriousness, all together, once I initially got the prep done, laying down the oils to blend from lay down color to blend was maybe 2 hours.
yeah, that's fast.
Yep, HP Lovecraft, same thing. That one was done in a few hours too.
I think as people who've only painted with acrylics, you just don't understand how much more like how much of our inability to get smooth blends or other all these different things are related just to the fact that our paints are meant to dry in seconds, right? Whereas oils dry in days and you can just keep working them, you can push the colors around, you can experiment, and everything just you can just push it all together, right? I mean, just watch any old Bob Ross video and you understand that like he was never worried about blending. That wasn't a thing in a Bob Ross tutorial, right? Like it just happened because he would just slowly push those colors together.
Oh, for sure. I think one of the things that makes it quicker once you get in the groove of it is the fact that the oil paints stay wet for like, and depending on the brand you use, literally like days.
Right.
And so you have the time to manipulate the paint and go through and blend it till you get it to where you want it. Whereas with acrylic, you have to keep cleaning it up and going back in and going up and going back in and this and that because you're racing against the clock. And depending especially on the climate that you live in, the temperature, the elevation and
Right.
everything, that all affects how fast or slow your paint's dry.
Yep.
Either way, you only have a few minutes when you're working with acrylic, a couple of minutes more when you work with heavy body acrylic. And
Right.
even then, you don't have that long.
Right.
But with oils, I could sit there, lay down the color, and let's say I map out the colors. I could go make dinner, come back, and then put the blends together, and the
Right.
paint will still be wet.
Right. Still totally workable. Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the only thing that's a pain is that you have to wait a few days or a week or 10 days, depending on the brand you're using or whatever, for it to dry. Now, there are ways to make it dry quicker, but I don't mess with none of that. Not for any bad reason, just because I'm afraid to. I just want the oils to do its thing when it comes to
Right.
drying, and I just don't mess with it, you know?
Yep.
So,
Yep. I hope more people play around with it. And what's interesting is that there are more people moving with like products for the more hobby miniature painting oriented space with oils. You know, like what's the name of it? Obtulung or Obolung or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it.
oh, I have like almost all the colors, the oil color. I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. They're wonderful. I love them.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're much more hobby focused in their market and stuff like that. Yes, there's just the oil brushers, the little like, they almost look like a tube of lipstick almost, right? Where you can pull it out and it just comes straight on a little like applicator. They're really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I love them. I have Aptolong for my oils. I have Winsor Newton. I have, yeah, and then I have whole sets of heavy body acrylics too. And I really love the new Scale 75 artist line of paints too, for like, acrylic wise. Oh,
Yes.
those are great. They come on like oils, because some people were like, oh, you have to apply them and play with them like oils. Go me. Okay.
Yep. Yeah,
So I'm
it's
happy with them.
I
I love
just
them.
I just threw up my review of those this last weekend after I'd like recorded it and re-recorded it, and then I reviewed it, and in the review I was like, well, there's no price yet for them though in the US. And then of course like 4 days later, boom, the price came out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay, yeah, I didn't know if you saw that email or not. Yes, yes, it did come out. It is out for retail now. Yay!
Absolutely.
So yeah, you know what? Speaking of that, you have not been sharing videos on the Metalhead Minis hobby group, and you should be doing that.
I will start doing that. I apologize.
You're
I
done.
will correct my bad behavior, I promise. And I will link that group down below as well. Uh
Yeah, please. Yeah, feel free, because we share tutorials from like everywhere.
yep,
And those who are painters that are in the group are more than welcome to share their tutorials and their blogs and whatever they've been working on as well, because that's what it's about.
absolutely. Yep. All right. So next up is we've got a Necron here. I purposely say Necron because it drives everybody insane. I know it's supposed to be pronounced Necron. I don't care. I'm calling them Necrons. But we have your I think this is like one of the lords and one of the walkers. I will openly admit I don't know which guy this is,
Is
but
it
he's
the
wonderful.
spidery looking one?
Yeah, yeah, your spider walker guy. Yes,
That's the stalker, Craft Tech Stalker.
I will believe you. It sounds right to me.
I'm a good liar. No, I'm just kidding. I don't lie, my mother. I suck at lying. Yeah, so that's that. Yes, that you are correct. That's the stalker. Yeah.
So where did this guy come from?
He is part of a commission job that I'm doing of a Necron army that's
Nice.
over 2,000 points.
So this is just one of a much larger project, I assume then.
Yes, yes.
I love the greens really pop in there. You captured like the that Necron sort of Goss energy really nice. Really really smooth bright greens. What do you use for like your ultra bright greens?
Actually, to be completely honest with you, all I used was, and I have it over here somewhere because I did work on a tutorial video for it too, which will be up on the channel soon. I just got to edit it. One moment, please. I used P3 in Necrotite Green.
Well, there you go. It's even kind of got it in the name. There it is. Yes, it's very bright. It has a great, yeah, like we'll go back to the mini here. It has such a nice, bright, strong green to it. It really pops, especially out of the nice dark. You used a nice, like, really deep black green for the rest of him. So it shows off really well. It really pops out there.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you so much. Well, one of the other things that I do to make it pop is I also add to it after the Necrotite Green dries, is that I also added game ink in green to go around the edges, and it helps the green pop more.
Ah, okay. Sure. Sure.
And then guess what? For a bonus, and there's going to be a tutorial on this too.
I'm ready.
It glows in the dark.
Really?
Yes, it does, my friend. I added glow pigments to it too.
Nice,
So
nice.
all those green parts that you see, when Joe, when Joe puts the lights off, there's parts of his Necron army that will glow green, like the Necron warriors. There's like 50 of them. All their eyes glow in the dark.
That is awesome. That's amazing. I love it. All right.
Thank you.
So next up we have the Blood Bowl team. So tell me about this is the new undead Blood Bowl team, right?
Oh, the champions of undead of death. I love them. I love anything horror and Halloween related and stuff, so that's why I love them. My husband Matt got me those, and they were a lot of fun to paint. And I purposely did those with primarily contrast paints. When the weekend that the contrast paints released, I did a Twitch broadcast of trying to do the for as long as I could, but I got tired and stopped at some point. I'm old. I'm sorry. I was all excited thinking I was 20 years old and that I could be up all night painting, and I couldn't do it. It was terrible. But I did three different things, prime different, so that people can see what the contrast paints look like over certain primers. I find I love it over zenithal priming, just so you know.
Agreed. Same.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
So those champions of undeath were primed in the Gray Seer contrast primer, which I love the contrast primers because pretty much no matter what temperature you're in and stuff, the primer comes on nice and smooth. I mean, GW sprays are always great,
Sure.
but like those primers, especially, they put some kind of special extra touch to them because those are right on. So those were done in the Gray Seer primer, and then they were painted primarily in contrast paints. The only parts that I could think of off the top of my head that were not contrast was obviously anything in silver metallic that was done,
Sure.
and what else? The edge paint for the edge for the black.
Oh yeah, I figured you probably went in and like did you edge in that blue directly or did you just like edge in an ivory and then use like one of the brighter contrast paints over the edge to then color it?
Oh no! I did it directly. It was
Okay.
the what was the color called? Baharath blue.
Yeah, sure.
That one.
Gotcha. No, they look great. It's a wonderful scheme. They really stand out again. Like I love the colors that you used here. These guys look awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I just uh oh, I'm sorry, I'm missing I'm missing some comments. I apologize. Scale 75 artist set of paints. I've seen it at Freak Wars. That suitcase looks pornographic.
The big giant suitcase you can buy of like everything, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but how is it pornographic? I thought it just had the artist symbol thing.
I think just because of the sheer size, cost, and amount of stuff you get. I think it used more colloquially, I think, is the statement there.
Oh, so it's like the cost is obscene. Okay, I sat there and I was like, did I miss something? Are there boobs etched on there that I didn't see?
We
Because
got you
I
gotta
would
flip the
have noticed
suitcase
that.
over, Lynn. That's on the other side. That's why
I
don't.
I would have noticed that, and I would have showed you. I would have been like, "Yo, check this out. This is a booby suitcase with paint. If you don't buy this, y'all wrong." You should paint him black. Oh, I think this is about Lovecraft. He had an issue with black people. To be honest with you, I didn't know that, and I'm part black, so there you go. Have you tried fluorescent paints from Green Stuff World? Um, no, I not from Green Stuff World yet, but I do have the set from Scale 75. I feel you can only have so many sets of fluorescents. I feel like I'm starting to go crazy here with all the paint I got. But thank you for your questions. I appreciate it. So when I did the going back to the Blood Bowl team, one thing that was really cool about me doing it is that allowed me to experiment with different ways of doing undead skin with the contrast paints.
Right. I noticed there was like some people with more yellow skin, some more green skin. You really
I
like played around with the different color tones there.
Yeah, and I made sure to journal those colors, the mixes that I did, and I posted them up. I believe they're on my Instagram
Nice.
if
Nice.
you want to check them out. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's see. So we got one more, and this is maybe my favorite. I was so happy you sent me this one to look at because this is one of my favorite busts you've ever done, and a lot like actually the guy you just showed because I love you play with unusual skin tones like this, especially in green palettes, really well. And we saw that when you just held up the like the creature from the deep, or basically whatever, right? That you just kind of
Yeah,
showed on
it's
camera.
called Deep One or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Yeah, exactly. But the Frankenstein bust. This is another great example because you've got so many wonderful tones here in him. Between like the green and yellow is obviously being your primary colors, but I want the audience to like really look at the wonderful like purples and reds and just all these deep colors you've worked in. And then at the same time, I love that you made his eyes that like ultra bright blue. And so this is like such a good touch. I really really love this bust, Lynn. You did such a good job with it because, and it's always the little things that catch me. You took his eyes, and I want the viewers to really like look at how you set the eyes with like the pupil still basically above the eyelid, like only the very teeny tiny bottom of the pupil is visible, and it gives him a completely different emotion. It's exactly how Frankenstein's eyes should be, like almost rolled back in his head where his lids are like kind of half closed over what he can see. It's so perfect because you could have painted him like down, right? You could have set the iris within the available space almost completely, and it would have had a totally different feeling, right?
Yeah.
But you caught it. It I love the way that gives it matches with like that semi curled lip he has. So I'm sorry to just go on and on about how much I love this thing, but I
No,
really
no,
do
no,
love
no.
this
You're
piece.
fine. Go ahead.
It's just
I mean,
so
God
great.
knows I chewed your guys' ear off for the last like God knows. Apologize, but yeah, no. Go ahead. It's your show.
Yeah. So it's great. So talk about this one a little bit. Tell me what you liked about doing this one, that sort of thing.
Well, the eyes. When I painted the eyes, someone once asked me when I first did the eyes. I started off with the eyes when I painted this model, and someone asked me, how did you sit there and come to doing it like that? Like, what was your inspiration? I said, oh, that's what my kids look like when I ask them to friggin' do something. Oh,
Yeah.
teenage. Oh, I was like, oh, perfect. Here we
Well,
go.
most teenagers early in the morning share a lot of similarities with Frankenstein. So yeah, that's very similar.
One cool thing that I like about when I did this bust is that when I did the skin primarily, I used the opportunity, I used it as an opportunity to play with the golden open acrylics. Have you heard of those?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, so I have a set of the golden open acrylics, not a big set, just one of those sets that have a bunch of like warm, like it has the color has like, or I'm sorry, it has yellow, white, black, I think black if I remember right, umber, uh, sap green, and crimson, and I think a blue,
Okay.
and and a yellow. And so I sat there and in that set and I got it on sale for like 12 bucks. I was like, bet. Okay. So I sat there and I thought, I want to play with these colors and kind of see what they can do. And so that was when I did that skin, that's primarily what I used were the golden open acrylics primarily. I did
Nice.
mix the golden, I did experiment with the open acrylics where I mixed in some regular acrylics too. Like I think I mixed some, like when I did the yellow in the skin for the highlights, I think I mixed the golden open acrylics yellow, if I remember right, with some Reaper Master Series kind of yellow just to
Okay.
kind of open up the color a bit.
Sure.
Yeah, and mixed in inks with it and stuff to kind of see what it would do. And I found that the golden open acrylics were pretty fun. They're pretty cool paints. I'm really happy I grabbed them.
Nice. Nice. Well, he came out absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I dig the heck out of this guy. Really, really wonderful. All right. Well, very cool. Okay, so let's now do a little questions. Are you ready, Lynn, for the lightning round questions of the
Do
interview with the artist?
do it.
All right, here we go. Okay, who is your favorite? You have to pick one. That's why this is a challenge. Who is your favorite current miniature painter besides yourself?
I don't even think I'm that good to be completely honest, especially compared to the people that are out there. Oh my god. So yeah, this question is definitely a challenge because to be completely honest with you, there's a lot of painters that I absolutely love and adore.
Absolutely. Like, and that's a trick. We could sit here and literally you and I could spend the next 10 minutes just naming painters' names of people we admire and look at their work and go, my God, it's stunning. How did they do that? It's wonderful. I am just blown away by the artist community right now in the world. But that's why it's a challenge. You got to pick one. One who maybe inspires you, whoever your favorite is.
There's a lot of them that truly do. So many of them that do. And each one of them are special for, some kind of reason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that are just amazing. Uh, God, if I had to pick, like, God, oof.
I told you it was a tough one.
I know. Okay. No, no, not even that one. I don't remember how to say that guy's name anyway. But no, one I can think of is Kirill.
Sure.
Kirill's amazing. He paints stuff that's so amazing and so realistic that sometimes you look at the photo and you think it's a live person.
Right. Yep. Like, oh, you
And,
just took a picture of a live person. Yeah.
huh?
Like he just took a picture of a live person. Like he just put somebody in costume. Yeah.
It's insane. It's not even fair. You know,
That is I completely respect that choice. Absolutely fair. All
I
right.
was very torn. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I
I
get
was
it.
very torn. I felt like all of the painters were staring at me,
I know. I
and I was
know.
like,
All right. What's your favorite color paint? If you had to pick just one color, what is your favorite singular color?
Secret Weapon entire black.
All right. Nice. Why so?
Because it's an excellent shadow color. You can use it for so many different things. It's like this it's similar to, if you're not familiar with the brand, it's similar to P3's Coal Black.
Okay. Sure.
It's similar to Vallejo's Deep Sea Blue, but Deep Sea Blue has more blue in it.
Yep.
But like the Taya Black is like this really great black, blue, gray, teal kind of color. It's like
Yes.
hard to explain, but it's so great and it could be used for so many things. I absolutely love using it to paint black. I love using it to shade silver metallic
Mm-hmm.
and other similar metals. I love using it to shade gray, use it on terrain.
Yep.
It's just such an amazing color.
I support that completely. I showed it. I picked up my tire black. It's right next to me because I keep it handy, and showed it up to everybody there on the screen. So I've got it there. And yes, I agree. It's like even for just doing like rubber joints and stuff in between armor plates. I'll usually I'll use this to shade that to be the deepest color there. You're right. It's a much more interesting. It's like it's darker than dark sea blue, but in the best way, right? It's like a black with actual interesting vibrancy and color.
And I tell you, is the God's honest truth. Those of you who have never heard of the Secret Weapon paints, let me tell you about the person who created them, Justin. Justin, if you've never seen his paint jobs, he's another one that's an absolutely insane painter. And one of the things that he specializes in is weathering.
Right.
And so he created this line of paints that seriously matches. I mean, I'm talking to a T. You couldn't match it better if you wanted to.
Right.
And he's matched in a paint every kind of weathering situation that there is. And the Taya Black is for black rubber. And then he's made the colors, all the colors for rust, all the colors for wood, all the colors for what do you call it? Engine heat,
Yep.
like
Oh yeah, sure. Yep.
the metal heat, the burn. And his metallics are beautiful.
I,
Like if you don't have those
his
paints,
the washes, the pigments even. I love all the different pigment line
I
that the
have a
Secret
bunch
Weapon
of
has.
them.
Yep.
Yes. Them and the Abtalung ones. I have a bunch of those and the Scale 75 ones. I like that the companies that I have the pigments from all have something good and special about them. At
Right.
least I feel that they do. But yeah, Justin is a very talented artist. So those
Absolutely.
of you who just know him for making washes and paints and whatever, no, that man was able to create those colors of paint because of his talent.
Right.
He has videos on YouTube also where he does like 2 minute tutorials, if I remember right, or did. He's been taking a hiatus from it right now, trying to get stuff developed with the company. But from what I understand, but he's done 2 minute tutorials on weathering, and they're great.
They really are. He packs a lot of information in 2 minutes. He's the anti me for our viewers out there, where I'll take 2 hours to explain a single concept. He goes 2 minutes and explains the whole thing. So it's nice. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's really really awesome. I love it.
All right. By the way, viewers, if you have some questions and you want to put them up there, go ahead and throw them in the chat as well, and we'll get to them if there are any out there. If you have anything you want to ask.
Yep,
Uh,
ask anything.
all right. Do you have a favorite? And then I'm going to structure this purposefully, in a way where you can answer it any way you want. Do you have a favorite type of minis to paint?
I've been absolutely loving painting busts, and I love painting Warhammer 40K figures.
Gotcha.
That's what I think off the top of my head are like my favorite things to paint.
What have you enjoyed most? Because busts have become so popular in the recent years. What have you enjoyed the most about busts?
I I don't know. I think it's probably because of the sculpts. The sculpts are so great. The ideas that people come up with for busts are insane. And I love painting faces, I think, is why.
Right. Right.
I absolutely love painting faces, whether it's human or creature. So to be honest with you, I think that's probably what it is that I love painting faces, and a bust gives you a larger canvas to do so. Does that sound
That totally makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Because like I'm with you. I love painting faces as well. And you get so much more like room to capture nuance, right?
yeah,
To do things like bring out the emotion in the eyes, like what we talked about there with the Frankenstein bust, right? Like on a 28 millimeter version of that fig, you wouldn't be able to do that same detail. You just wouldn't have the room to really capture it, right? So yeah, absolutely. All right. Next question.
what
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read what it says here. I'm sorry. Slippy Tiger asked, "What's a good, what's a good easy way to paint plastic plants?" Oh, do you mean the aquarium? I think they mean the aquarium ones.
Right, like so for stuff for basing or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because those are a great scale size for terrain and such. I would say the easiest way to paint them: spray Tester's Dull Coat on them to get kind of a matte finish for the paint to grab onto.
Yep.
Prime with primers such as Stynylrez, because I'm telling you, Stynylrez is made differently from a lot of primers, and it really holds on to a lot of different surfaces. And then paint away, right? Another question here is who in 40K? Who in 40K do I like painting? I guess. Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, I've been painting my Adeptus Titanicus. That's been fun
Nice.
too. Yeah, for I'm trying to see if I can do armies on parade. I'm really hoping to get into doing that. So I've been having fun painting those, and I have a huge Death Guard army, and I like painting orcs. Orcs are fun, but nobody like really specific, like pinpointing one character kind of deal that I
Gotcha.
can think of anyway off the top of my head. Anything horror related, I love doing. Love doing those. Um, Joe Arthober says Lynn likes faces for the boop. The boop is when I do the white glint on the eye.
Right.
There, and when I teach it how to tell people how to do it, I sit there and I go, and then you put the dot and go, and then boop, like that. And so that became a thing on the Twitch channel. People thought that was funny. My question is, do you also hate metal pieces? Metal pieces as in like metal miniatures? No, I still love metal miniatures because I still think a lot of them are look really awesome. I still get old Ralph Partha minis and stuff like that. Never forget where you came from, right?
Sure.
So no, I still like metal minis. I feel resin's really come a long way. I remember when resin really first started, poking into the industry there, if you will. And I remembered being kind of nervous about what that was going to mean because I was so used to my metal. But I find that, GW doing plastic, thank God they moved away from fine cast. I
Of
think we
course,
can.
we all celebrate that choice. Yes.
Yes, yes. But I still love resin too. But I still love my metal. I don't have a problem with metal models, except for like assembling some like infinity models.
Sure.
I don't think anybody likes putting those together.
No, definitely not. No, 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 no,
Being
no, no,
honest,
no.
I love infinity. I love you, Corvus Belly. I swear to you, I do.
Because
But why do
they're
pieces have to be so
beautiful
tiny?
models. But
What?
yes, they're beautiful models. But my goodness, some of those metal
Genuinely.
pieces, it's like, what are you doing to me here? Trying to
Yeah.
glue two things together, and the join point is like a 16th of an inch circle. I'm like, oh come on, this just isn't right. Uh,
It's hysterical. And you're welcome, Slippy Tiger. I appreciate it. Thank you for asking.
all right. I suspect I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. So, what do you listen to anything while you're painting, or what do you listen to while you're painting?
One of two things. I either have Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime playing something. I always have to have something going
Right.
while I work. And that's no matter what job I'm doing. So I either have, I'm either streaming something or watching a DVD or Blu-ray, whatever, or I play my music, my metal music or
Mm-hmm.
80s music or dubstep, whatever.
Nice. Nice. Very good. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I had, Lynn. So I want to tell you what, if somebody rolls one in, that's fine. We'll grab it there. But otherwise, what I'll say is, Lynn, this has been an absolute joy. It has been so much fun to have you
Thank
on.
you. Thank you so much for having me. I sincerely appreciate it. I'm really glad that you chose me to do this because I mean, and you sat there when you sat there and said to me or said on the show there, you're like, "Oh, she's always been a hobby hero of mine." I'm like, "Me?
Yeah.
It's way better than I do."
Because not only are you a great painter, you're such an advocate in the community of celebrating art, of celebrating this hobby. I want everybody to see not only to recognize not only what it means to be a great artist, which you are, but also to be a great advocate for artists. And
Thank
that's
you.
a really important aspect because we should all be celebrating each other every day. And
Oh
you
my God.
you you live that. It's wonderful. And you've done so much for the community, for me personally through what you've done at Gen Con and just in the socials and sharing. So it's absolutely a pleasure to sit down here and talk to you, Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I feel it's important. We live in a world where there's a lot of crap going on,
Right.
and I know that we are all in this hobby for this. I mean, yeah, I like paying my bills, sure, but we also in essence are all in this hobby for the same reason, which is because it's fun and it brings us solace. So
Exactly.
yeah, so I mean, it needs to be happy. There's a lot of people in there that try to not make it so and try to be negative Nancy's and stuff, and it's like, don't bring that here. We
Right.
come here to be happy.
That's right. That's right. This is our happy place, darn it. That's right. Don't bring that negativity around here. Well,
Right.
well, Lynn,
Get
thank you very much to all of you out there who watched. Thank you so much for watching, for your great questions. As always, it's very much appreciated, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you all. You're the best.